Fantasy art history with Abelard and Joe.
Traveler, Merry
Hey,
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. I like what you've done with the place.
Thanks, you like my decor.
Yeah, it looks really nice.
Yeah, I do my best to get in the spirit of
Yeah.
the season.
Were you decorating because Philip's coming by today?
What? Wait a second. Philip's coming by today? Are you serious?
Okay, well, it's good if you didn't think he was. Did you see his text?
I guess it went to spam, I think.
Yeah.
So, well,
Oh, he said he was going to come by and go on the show, but he can't get out of his house right now.
uh, but he, really?
Yeah, he said somebody screwed the lid on top of it.
Man, that's just like Philip, isn't it?
Yeah. So he said it's fine. He called Eileen and she's gonna come unscrew it so he can get out.
Hmm.
And then he'll come on later, I guess.
In the if I'm gonna just remember to have the Christmas spirit
Yeah.
for Philip. Philip, perhaps friends someday you'll meet him too.
Yeah.
He's a fine fellow, and we're all doing our best out here.
Yeah. He said he's reading that Robert Caro, The Power Broker, because he has a lot of time on his hands right now. I was waiting for Eileen to come over.
Is that what he wants to come on the show to talk about?
I would have to find out. He said he really likes it so far, though, so maybe.
Here's okay. Here's
Lyndon Baines Johnson,
that's
you
right.
know?
Spirit of the season. Philip can have 5 minutes.
Wow. He's gonna need it to talk about a book like that.
Yeah. Get ready, folks, for our new segment coming soon. Philip's Literature 5 minutes.
Yep.
Maybe 1 minute?
1 minute. Philip's
No,
Literature Minute.
Philip's Literature minute.
Kind of rolls off the tongue.
It kind of does. Yeah. He'll be
I'll
happy
text
with
him
that.
about it. I'll text him about it and we'll see what he thinks.
It's small time for a small guy.
But today, we're talking about a different kind of literature that some may
On our
argue isn't
show,
on our show,
on the Abelard and Joe show,
Fantasy Art History with
as
Abelard and
which
Joe.
gets to be as long as we want because it's our show.
That's a good point. And boy, won't we wring every minute out of today's subject? That's right, Jack Kirby,
Oh, the Jack Kirby.
the demiurge of popular comics. Jack Kirby.
Yeah. Wow. Should we just hop right in?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
Let's go in.
Let's go.
So, could you
So
pull up maybe like a really iconic, like I say Jack
yeah.
Kirby, like the first thing that jumps into your mind?
Hang on.
Okay.
Don't, get ready. Get ready.
Okay.
Here we go. Here, come on. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Everyone immediately thinks, oh, Jack Kirby, inventor of the romance comic genre.
He invented it.
And then Joe Simon, according to his Wikipedia, which obviously is going to be a little partisan.
Wow. What do those two guys know about romance? Is what I'm asking myself right now, looking at this cover.
You don't think they had wives? You don't think they were I ever high school quarterbacks named Bob Stanley or whatever that guy's name is?
Say, were they married? I said, what do they know about romance?
You don't think they were in love with their wives?
They were in love with dudes fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in this one, it's a classic situation where a guy whose name is Bob something, scan's a little off,
Yeah.
but he's fallen for a new dame, and so this snippier dame in the back says like, "Ah, I'll get her out of the way, and then I'll have Bob all to myself."
Yeah, romance is all about the machinations of women. That's basically all it is. The men in romance are just, they're just innocent bystanders.
Well, you didn't even see the. I've picked this out of a lot of covers, and some of them were about the machinations of men.
What, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I stand corrected.
There was the one about the woman and her groom ran away, like jilted her at the altar, and so the best man was like, "I'll step in," and she's like, "I know you've always had a thing for me," but then the priest is like, "Be careful, young lady."
Be careful what?
I don't really know. I mean, it is an impulsive decision. You have
No,
to.
maybe he killed her boyfriend, fiance. Wait, do you remember?
Now that's a comic.
Wait, get this. Here's my romance comic idea. Okay. This is going to be great because it's going to be popular with multiple types of people, people who love romance and people who love football. Uh, the star quarterback. Your name is like I don't know, Bert Goodthrower, and you're off, but you're off your game. Oh no, your perfect spirals are not going so straight anymore. So what are you gonna do? Your girlfriend, your sad girlfriend, she's like, oh, he's feeling so bad, but I can't help him. And one day you, the quarterback, you
Yeah.
go down to the ocean with your football, and you're like, that's it. I can't football anymore. I just
Yeah.
like it's over for me. And in a moment of despair, you throw your football into the ocean. And who catches it out of the churning waves? A beautiful mermaid.
Wow.
A
Can I suggest an alternate surname?
yeah,
Because you said Bert Goodthrower.
yeah.
What about Bert Hurlwell?
That's great. That's perfect. That's better than mine.
Thanks.
Okay. And then the mermaid.
Oh, there's
The
more.
mermaid. Yeah, well, yeah, because the in the romance, the key to romance is not having dinner at a cafe with a dude like that.
What do you mean
It's
like that?
I don't know, he just looks so self-assured and boring. The key to romance is that people like have big, huge feelings and they're misled about them. But it turns out that they were right to have those feelings to
Yeah.
begin with. So his like, Bert Goodthrowers, his good girlfriend is going to be like, "Oh, I can't help him." And then she's going to follow him to the ocean. She's going to see him throwing footballs to the mermaid and she's
Yeah.
like, oh no,
Yeah.
I'm losing him. I'm losing him to football and to a football mermaid.
And sort of to the sea.
To the sea. The third, it's not even a love triangle, it's a love quadrangle, the
Yeah.
worst kind. But here's what it's going to happen. It's going to be like he's going to get better at playing football and then the mermaid is going to talk to the girlfriend and she's going to be like, "Look, he doesn't love me.
He only talks about you when we're together.
He loves you and he loves football. And I love football. The mermaid.
And I want to see him thrive.
Yeah. And I wanna catch his perfect spirals, but you're gonna catch his perfect love.
That's not the word I thought that sentence was going to end with.
Well, I don't wanna get this too,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, let's keep.
you're gonna make me blush, Apple. Jeez. Wait, this is going on YouTube. I don't like
All right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. We're gonna break. No, let's break this back around. What we? Hey, Joe. Remember what this show is originally going to be called?
Genius of Jack Kirby. Still around to draw my romance comic about the football mermaid. Because
Okay.
I think that that would inspire him to do kind of more of a banger cover than this, which is I gotta say, this is not exciting in any way at all.
I love the drawing of the sweater.
Yeah, I mean that's a well drawn sweater
I
that
agree with
holds
you.
it.
It's
Yeah,
it's pretty. It is pretty stiff,
it's
and pretty much the work is always stiff. I think that is one thing about Jack Kirby is it always everything has like a kind of uh, gestural, statuesque kind of way of being drawn,
you know. Should
almost like a fashion magazine illustration.
should we look at him where he's more in his element?
Yeah, let's get him in
Let's
his
let's.
element.
I'm gonna go fix this. Hang on one second. We're gonna say goodbye to romance and we're gonna say hello to
Yeah,
whatever the
yeah,
hell this is.
yeah.
What are we I don't know. I've never read any Jack Kirby
Yep.
comics. I don't know who we're looking at here. Can you enlighten us, please, Abelard?
I can only somewhat enlighten you because I actually don't recall what the comic this appeared in is. But that's a celestial, which is a giant godlike robot from space, that's like 1,000 feet tall. And it's called Arisham the Judge, and that thing on its like palm and thumb is the formula for destruction. And so right now it's like monitoring the Earth, and after 50 years of monitoring, it's gonna thumbs up or thumbs down. And if it thumbs down, you're kaput. You're cooked. And then down on the bottom is everybody like seeing and reacting to it.
So at this moment, this is like in the like he's watching gladiators. He's got his
Yeah, he's
thumb
going like,
up, but is he gonna turn it down? Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool.
isn't that cool?
I think this guy is so rad.
He really brought his own totally idiosyncratic graphic sensibility. Um, and I think there's so much at work here. There's a statuesque sense of scale. There's beautiful just drawing of masses. The hand is gorgeous, and we will see only beautiful hands for the rest of this comic. I also think the texture, like the metallic sheen rendered in ink on the body, is stunning. There's like a kind of glossy slickness to it.
Yeah, it's glorious.
Yeah,
His head, mask, helmet,
yeah.
it looks like kind of like an industrial designed object. Um, maybe like I don't know what era that would be from, and the flatness of the white lines over the
Hmm.
top, the way that it kind of goes back and forth between being a three-dimensional shape and being flat
Yeah.
graphics is stunning.
The kind of the intimation that there might be something behind that visor, but maybe there isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like a coffee pot.
Yep. Like a Italian futurist coffee pot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really great. And the business, all the little business on the bottom,
Hmm.
that's kind of like sort of sets the scale of this guy, but also it could conceivably be happening in a different place from where he is.
I believe it is. Yeah.
Yeah, but it works for both ways.
Yep. And there's a lot of subtle stuff going on with scale and perspective. It's almost panoramic, that
Hmm.
bottom strip. Like if you look at the figure in the bottom right-hand corner, who's like going up to a control panel, but it's like a little closer, the whole space seems a little curved. Yeah, I think there are just a million really appealing things at work here. And there's both like, sure, there's the cosmic vision stuff, but when it comes to just the quotidian comics tasks of portraying space and action, like that stuff is really accomplished as well.
This would have been like a full page spread, right? Where you've
Yes,
got a gutter down the center.
yes.
And you can kind of see how it's been planned for. Like there's
Hmm.
nothing, if you look at the exact center of this image, there's stuff there, but it's not anything you need to see. So you imagine opening this up and how it sort of comes out towards you in the format of the book. I think that this is one of the many things that are so incredible about comics. The way that you are, it's let me try to like if I can enumerate some of this stuff here.
Yeah,
You've got the impact of the narrative, even if it's a crazy and or dumb narrative. You've got that to work with. You've got the scale of the image over the page. You've got the ability to show things that are happening at different times but you look at them at once. So
yeah.
you're looking at this guy, overwhelming large man, plus you're looking at all of these people doing various things. Are they happening simultaneously? Like, not even film can really do this. I guess film can do like kind of picture in picture stuff that's kind of like this, but
But this is the native form of comics is like this.
yes, and you get to pause on it, right? Like you get as a viewer, it's film kind of comes at you. You don't get to go back. I
Yeah,
get to look at the large man, go up here, read the text, go down there, read the text, and the whole time the large man is looming over me and my friends and
yeah.
my just like that sort of freedom of as a viewer to get in here and just kind of explore with your like your eyes and your reading comprehension. It's so good.
Yeah.
I love that the way that you can make a composition that has things that are disconnected in space and time that still speak to each other on a single page. Guys, it's really good.
And even like while we're just talking about comic stuff, if you imagine that there is like if you treat the gutter of the page, like the center of the page, the fold, as a panel gutter, so we split it into two halves, then the face is centered in the right panel, the hand is centered in the left panel, right? So you see the giant hand and then you see the sinister face it belongs to, and you read down to each the reactions to the hand and then the reactions to the face. Like there's just a lot. I think you're right. I think it's a basically infinitely deep medium
Yeah, it's really something.
with many simultaneous concerns.
Infinitely deep and yet so infinitely shallow.
Do you want to see a part that's a little more shallow
Yeah,
than it
that's
is deep?
yeah.
Let's take a quick look. Because Jack Kirby, we would like has a reputation as sort of the godfather of these superhero comics. Captain America, pictured here, is somebody that he invented with Joe Simon. This is a Jack Kirby creation. I don't know if he invented the orange and purple guy whose name is Batroc the Leaper, a sinister French acrobat, or maybe it's Quebecois. I mean, how would you know?
Well, he didn't really like. Guy didn't make it as good as far as Captain America, huh?
Yeah, but here's the thing. I
Some
think they
do
are.
miss, I guess.
But I think they're at the same level of like primordial interest, right? If you're like the same kind of like 8-year-old style enthusiasm that produces Captain America on an off day produces Batroc the Leaper, right? It's just unfiltered energy.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I'm gonna zoom in real quick on the text up here
Oh yeah,
because I
yeah,
think everyone should read this.
yeah,
Maybe you can once I make it big enough to see, you can read it out loud.
yeah. This is being
Yeah.
written by crook and intellectual property thief Stan Lee, um, godfather of comics in more of a Francis Ford Coppola sense.
Here
Um,
we go. Can you read that?
writes. No, you should read it, Joe. Try to do your best Stanley
Okay.
impression.
I don't know what Stanley sounds like.
Yeah.
The wise man knoweth when to speak and when to shutteth up. Sly Stan knows that no words of his can do justice to Jolly Jack's great action scenes, and uh,
Yeah.
so this is just as much to say, like, man, I'm not gonna write anything here. Look at this.
I'm not gonna put in Captain America saying like, "Take that, chum, for America,"
You don't need that. Check out these drawings.
or
I
Batroc
trust
the
me.
Leaper going like, "Mon Dieu."
Just gonna scroll up here.
Yeah, I think
Take
that's a great
picture this
idea.
like a movie real quick. So here we go.
Yeah.
Um, wait, can I do that?
We either will or will not be scrolling up.
There we go.
Yeah.
Bang.
Yep. I love. Let's stop here for just a second because this is that quality of things unraveling in time but being simultaneously present. So if there's a horizontal line, like a curved horizontal line that runs through all the middle of all three of these panels,
Yeah, it's
um,
incredible.
in it's drawn as an action line on the left and right, and in the center, it's just drawn by a long area of intense contrast. You have the like yellow, pink, yellow of the backgrounds. Um, Crazy ass perspective in the first two at least, but that the angle of that foot is absolutely bonkers. And the angle of Captain America's hand, like I think that's such a great looking panel, and it's readable. That's the other thing. You can tell what action is these characters are taking on one another and how the force is being physically transmitted. This stuff is exciting. To
Yeah.
me, I loved these kinds of comics when I was younger, and the modern iterations usually do a lot less for me, in part because I think this has become so dry and formalized. But there's real energy here.
There's you can tell that there's real energy here because I can tell what's happening in this fight scene.
Yeah.
And there's this concept that people talk about. I think in animation, even more than comics, it's like line of action. And god dang, if you can't like the simplified forms, if you were to trace one of these guys' bodies into just like a C shape or you can always tell what way they're heading in, even
Mhm.
though you shouldn't necessarily be able to from a still image. And part of that is like, okay, the motion lines are giving me a big cue, but even more of that is because there's indications from the way their bodies are swinging towards you. It's like watching people dance or something. Like
Yeah.
there is music playing behind this that is like just clicks in your brain and tells you what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's incredible to I don't know. I don't know if you've ever tried to draw people fighting, but actually it's like it's hard to think about. Like you have to actually like choreograph this stuff somehow, and then you have to draw it.
Mm.
And this is just, this does deserve to get a wall breaking shout out in the for only text panel, which is
Yeah,
just the writer saying, "Yeah, this is, just enjoy. Here you
yeah,
go." I will scroll up to the bottom.
yeah.
Here we go.
Beautiful. I love this at the end as well. You see this trick done a lot in comics of dropping out the background, doing everything in the negative space of the panel to slow things down again. Like it creates this sense of taking a breather. And you can see uh poor ass Batroc the Leaper um like on the all fours on the ground and Captain America kind of stalking over him and you see them from the same angle. Like it's such a cool way of drawing that. And
Like
yeah.
also like look at the total like command of foreshortening. Um, so our term foreshortening is when something comes right at you like this. Right now I'm going to be foreshortened. This is what
Yeah.
it looks like. Hard to draw.
Yep.
Easy to see, hard to draw because your perception of what shapes are is it's hard to break it down into like, as something comes towards me, it gets bigger, even though I know intellectually it's not bigger. It's just,
Yeah.
you know, we,
Really crazy example of that in the bottom left hand corner.
yes,
You could not you can't this is the craziest angle to draw a human being at.
yeah, pretty much, yeah. But if
Okay.
you can do that, then that basically opens up full three-dimensional space where like your the eye of you person who's trying to think of the drawing kind of just like can fly all around the image like you're in the matrix and decide
Yeah.
what is the coolest most dramatic angle to view this at, and that's the one you're going to draw, and then you just draw it because you know how to do it because you're amazing. Like this, like looking down from above in the last panel, that's also like a crazy thing to convey. It's foreshortened. There's no ground, so there's no like signal as to what you're being shown, but you can totally tell what's happening here, and it's
Yeah.
so dramatic. This is what you get if you can really draw. Oof.
I think that he has a like a blocky but sculptural way of drawing figures throughout. Like just all of his cartooning is like this, and it's favored. Like that's why a lot of these um, Marvel heroes, I think like the Hulk and the Thing and stuff, are these giant like sort of like meat monsters. Is when you basically think of the body as this assembly of 3D masses, it really favors drawing characters that have some physical bulk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to mention is this is just like a 3 by 3 grid. I think in a lot of more modern comics, someone trying to do a dramatic fight scene would do a lot of fancy
Yeah.
panel work. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but this just really proves that, like, you know, you, you don't need to do that.
Yeah.
If you can bring it with the just the posing and the sort of the drama of knowing what's happening physically, the way that this kind of is like a series of almost like instantaneous jump cuts. Everything you can imagine this all happening like boom, 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 boom. Like you're just getting like a steady rhythm of this fight.
Yeah.
It's really great to look at. It's very impressive. And then, as you said, especially broken up in the center by this sequence where there's this very clear connection of just like impact going straight across. Oof.
But
Big gut punch.
but Joe, what if we were tired of sequential images? Sequential images, I don't need you. Give me just a really good looking, just like an image. You
Okay,
know, just one of
here.
them. Yeah.
Wow.
So we've got another artist to credit here, and to give a little background, this was from Jack Kirby's work at the company Ruby Spears, which was making like stupid children's cartoons and action figures and stuff.
When was this?
The late 70s, early 80s, I think.
Is this where we have to talk about the sad fate of comics artists, even the greatest of all comics
Yeah,
artists?
everyone who's invented anything of value got super fucked except for Stan Lee and I don't know, Bob Kane maybe. Is that
Yeah.
the guy who keeps insisting he was the only person who ever did anything on Batman?
Yeah, he
Anyway,
said I invented his whole bad world.
okay. Um, yeah, but Jack Kirby got screwed out of his um I mean, just pervasively screwed out of his, I think originals was the main thing I was reading about. Like they held on to their art boards. They were giving the art boards away as like prizes and to, as gifts to investors and stuff, but he couldn't get access to his own originals.
God, this so sad.
Yeah. So he was working at this place, Ruby Spears, and his mandate was basically to come in with new ideas. And the thing I was talking about at the beginning of just sort of coming in, like having this kind of unfiltered energy, and saying, like, what about a car that splits into three parts and each part has different features, which I'm going to draw. So, like, this is a sheet of board that is penciled on, and then guess who colored and inked this?
Who colored and inked this?
Well,
Somebody else who worked at that weird toy company?
yeah.
Who was
Um,
it?
could it possibly be the next generation of people with this kind of like comics genius would be Jim Woodring?
Are you serious?
Yeah,
It's
the
so
Frank guy, Jim Woodring.
oh, hang on, you got told me to get a little picture, so
Yeah,
let's
let's
just
yeah.
remind everyone about Jim Woodring.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
guy.
this guy.
Yeah,
This guy. We'll do an episode on Jim Woodring.
certainly will. If you can imagine those two people working at the same studio and then making this, I don't know, it's almost like, Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart working on Twilight together. Like,
Yeah.
wow, that's so much talent in one room to make this happen. But in
See, with the emphasis on this
yeah,
in that sentence.
yeah. But it's still like the drawing is beautiful. The thing that stands out to me is the goons being apprehended. I love the way they're drawn. These are classic Jack Kirby goons. The way they reach out in despair, the pathos on their faces, they're apprehended by the robot arms.
Their weird outfits.
This actually reminds me a little bit of some of those Akira Toriyama vehicles, like the little hover cars and stuff that he would draw in Dragon Ball. Like there's something so good natured about these attack cars.
No one draws mechs like this.
Absolutely.
This is from a different time. There's now an acceptable, even when someone draws a mech where it's like this one's dinged up and crappy, they don't look like this.
Yeah.
None of them have the like kind of Goodyear tire man arms anymore.
Yep. Or the little wheel wells to keep your to keep the mud off your. Yeah.
It's so muddy. They gotta put fenders on those
Yeah.
things. What are we doing?
And you can see a little bit of that like Jack Kirby like mystical orthography on the top of the rearmost car, just like the crazy design back there, like an antenna to God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like big, beautiful trucks. I would play with a little creature like this for sure.
I think as a child I would be really excited. I want to share something as we wrap up here, and this will go a little long, but this is something Jim Woodring said as a tribute to Kirby in the Comics Journal, and I'm quoting now. He was like a wild spraying geyser of the substance we struggled pitifully to evoke in driblets. Even those among us who had never read superhero comics and saw Jack without his aura, so to speak, stood in awe of him. He was more than a master, he was the comic book impulse incarnate. We loved to draw him out in conversation because he was completely unpredictable. His mind was nimble and unfettered by convention. I never heard him tell an anecdote that was not heavily spiced with benign absurdity. As with his drawing, there was something preciously fragile about his sledgehammer approach to storytelling. One sensed that a hard life had made Jack tough, but that the great child's heart of which he was the custodian had been sheltered and saved at all costs, and that this heart was the force that drove him.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah,
I really mean it. That's really good.
yeah,
I would like to grow up to be like that.
yeah. Yeah, we can hope to do that.
Let's all live in hope, friends.
Yeah, we shelter the great child's heart within us, and we let it produce stuff like this.
Yeah. I mean, look at us. We're making a podcast.
Yeah, that's a
We're,
good point.
we're,
He
we're
was the great
a
podcast.
child.
The podcasting impulse exploded out of him.
Well, I hope everyone's having a lovely holiday,
Yeah,
healthy, warm, and full of wonder.
yeah.
And until next time,
Keep on dreaming.
sorry, that was really good.